Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Bride of Dracula. Goddess Next Door and John Haynes team up to take on the Dark Vampire Lord in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Bride of Dracula in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. There seems to be a big push by SJW comic creators in Hollywood to make almost every black heroine featured in a comic book or comic book adapted media, like movies and television shows, into a lesbian. And examples of this are Roxane Gay's two lesbian Dora Milaje guards, which were featured in the spin-off comic book Black Panther World of Wakanda. Another example of this is the Valkyrie character, which was featured in Thor Ragnarok, and this character, which was played by Tessa Thompson, was openly described by Tessa Thompson on social media as a black lesbian Valkyrie. Now, this same Valkyrie character is now going to be coming to Marvel Comics Exiles and is presented as a black lesbian character. Other examples of black lesbian characters feature the Lightning character, who was featured on the CW's Black Lightning just this Tuesday, and she was featured in a lesbian relationship. Now, other examples of black lesbian characters include the character on B-Word Planet and other independent books like Saladin Ahmed's Abbott and many other comic books that are produced by independent publishers. And this trend of pushing African American lesbian heroines is quite troubling when you consider not only the state of the comic book industry, but the whole demographics of America overall. Now, when it comes down to the state of the comic book industry is in the worst state of affairs it's ever been in. According to the Comic-Con numbers for December, the comic book industry had its worst month in the entire history of the comic book industry. Orders are down drastically and sales are down drastically, and over 50 comic book stores have closed due to SJWs constantly pushing their agenda and their identity politics at publishers like Marvel Comics and at many of the indies. And many of these comic book stores just can't sell these books because of the content that features them. And when it comes down to the comic book industry, it is struggling to get any sort of traction because of these books. And all you have to do is look at the demographics to understand why books featuring black lesbians struggle to get sales. Because in the United States, we have over 300 million people, and the black population, which is supposed to be the core audience for these books, is only 13%. And out of the 13% of the black population, less than 100 billionth of a percent are black lesbians. So the probability of a black lesbian going to a comic book store to buy a comic book featuring a black heroine is slim to none. And that's what leads to many of these comic shops being stuck with all this excess inventory, and then that leading to them going out of business. Unfortunately, you cannot explain this logic to SJW comic creators, and you can't explain it to them because they insist they are doing something in the name of diversity. However, their attempt at promoting diversity is actually white supremacy. And the reason why it is white supremacy is because passively these SJW creators are giving readers a black heroine. However, aggressively they are giving you a heroine that is going to be impeded in the comic book marketplace and is going to alienate the largest audience of readers. Now, when it comes down to comic book readers are primarily heterosexual and male, and the largest audience of comic book readers are heterosexual white males. And when it comes down to a heterosexual male, they need to be attracted to a heroine in order to buy their adventures. This is why we see so many heroines in spandex showing off their curves, because most heterosexual males are stimulated visually and they need to be attracted to that female in order to go out and buy her comic books. So when these comic book SJW comic creators come out here and make a character a lesbian, they have literally shot themselves in the foot before they publish the first issue. Because if those heterosexual males are not stimulated by that heroine and don't see anything in that heroine that would be considered attractive to them, then they have no incentive to go out here and buy that heroine's adventures. But you can't explain this to the SJW because the SJW believes that they are out here promoting this whole campaign of diversity. However, that campaign, again, is passive aggressive white supremacy because when it comes down to taking this black heroine and making her a lesbian, what makes it white supremacist is the fact that it lowers the value of the black female image. And this is what something that white supremacy has done over the last 100 years as related to the black female image in comparison to the white female image. Now, most white supremacists want to elevate the white female to the highest position and the most high standard of beauty. And what these SJW creators and Hollywood want to do is they want to lower the value of the black female image because when you have a black female heroine, she has to be at least appealing and attractive to straight black males. And when they make this character a lesbian, what they do is they make it where she's not considered sexually attractive not only by black men, but by men overall. And when men don't see a woman as sexually attractive, again, they have no incentive to read her stories or follow her adventures. And what that does is it minimizes the whole idea of black women being beautiful, black women being attractive, and black women being desirable. And that's what white supremacy wants to do as related to the black female image. They want to degrade the black female image, and by promoting black female lesbian heroines, they go out of their way to degrade the black female image in comparison to the white female image. And what that does is it makes the white females appear more attractive in comparison to the heterosexual males. And this is something that the publishers would use as an excuse not to publish black characters. This is something people don't understand about the whole push to create these black lesbian characters and how it's detrimental to black characters overall, because what the publisher will do once they publish a book like Black Panther World of Wakanda and it doesn't sell is what they'll say is, oh, books featuring black heroines don't sell. However, the reason why the book featuring the black heroine didn't sell was the fact that it was a book featuring a black lesbian character, and when it comes down to black lesbian characters, they just aren't considered appealing or attractive to large audiences of heterosexual males. So they will manipulate the numbers to make the data appear like this black character didn't sell, when in actuality it was a character that was targeted at a demographic that just doesn't buy comic books overall. And black lesbians just don't buy comic books in the numbers that white heterosexual males or black heterosexual males buy comic books in. They tend to buy good chunks of comics when they go to the store. These are the guys who have $100 and $200 pull lists, and that's why people make every effort to target that audience. But Hollywood will use those same numbers, and publishers will use those numbers to push a narrative as related to black females. And one of the narratives that Hollywood and mainstream media has always tried to push, again, is the minimization of the black female image and minimizing black female beauty in comparison to white females. And this is something that has been done in media ever since the 1930s with films like Imitation of Life, where the Louise Beavers character was twice the size of the Claudette Colbert character, and she was presented as being almost appearing masculine in comparison to the soft and feminine Claudette Colbert. Another example of this is Ghostbusters 2016, where we had the black female Ghostbuster, who was twice the size of the three white female Ghostbusters, and she had a very masculine build. And this was about masculinizing the black female image, just like creating these black heroines as lesbians is also about masculinizing the black female image, because they don't want us to see black heroines as soft and feminine and attractive in comparison to their white female counterparts. Because if they do see them as that way, you'll have white comic fans seeing black heroines just as attractive as women like Storm and Vixen are. Because when it comes down to Storm and Vixen, those are considered very popular characters, not only with black comic fans, but they're also very popular with white comic fans. And when it comes down to white supremacists, they want to see the white woman elevated to the highest position. They don't want the black woman to be equal in the same way Storm is in most comic fans' eyes or Vixen is in comic fans' eyes. No, they want to find a way to lower her beauty and her value to comic fans. So they do things like making this character a lesbian so that comic fans won't see her as attractive and mainstream audiences won't see her as attractive. And also, females readers won't see her as attractive because another component to this is the female comic reader. Now, when it comes down to the female comic readers, they also are a large audience of heterosexual women, and they want to see personality traits in a heroine that they identify with. Moreover, they want to see traits in a heroine that allows them to go out here and have relationships with men. And when they look at a heroine, they're looking at a heroine having these traits. And when they see a lesbian character, again, they get turned off because they're heterosexual and they want to see traits in that character that are attractive to them. And I look at characters like Rogue, who is considered the Southern Belle and is extremely attractive. And she's very popular because a lot of females see themselves in that character and they see her having this romance with Bad Boy Gambit. And they want to have that for themselves. And when they make these black female heroines lesbians, again, it's a quick turn off for them because they don't see access to these alpha males that are featured in comics or the guys who are reading comics or a relationship with them. So whenever these SJWs create these kind of characters, they wind up alienating large demographics which would go out here and buy these types of comics. But when you make these arguments, they will call you a homophobe or they will call you a bigot. However, all you have to do is look at the numbers, look at the statistics, and look at the facts, and you will see this, that they're trying to sit there and say, oh, people want these type of characters, but the audience for them is very small. And I know this as a publisher because I go out of my way to publish 2 series which feature black heterosexual heroines, Isis and Esteem, and it's a big challenge just to sell a black heterosexual heroine to readers. It's a major challenge because, again, the population for African American fantasy and the population for African American comics, that the core audience is very small. And when you go out here and make this character a lesbian, it makes it even harder to sell. So these books start out the gate with 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel. But you can't, again, tell the SJWs this, and you can't tell the SJWs that Hollywood is using them as a pawn towards their social engineering campaign. Now, when it comes down to Hollywood wants to socially engineer the whole idea that black females are being lesbians because they want to, again, minimize the beauty of the black female and they want to degrade the black female image. And the reason why they want to degrade the black female image is because they want white females to appear to be more attractive in comparison to black females. And if you make it where the black female is a lesbian in a television show or a movie or a comic book, then people will start to see her as less attractive in comparison. And when it comes down to heterosexual males, they will not consider her as part of their fantasy. They won't consider her as part of a relationship. And they won't consider her to be someone who could be considered a viable relationship partner. So all of these things are designed in the media to design it where not only will white men see her as unattractive, but black men will also see her as unattractive. And the reason why they don't want black men to see her as attractive is because they want black men and black women to be at odds with each other and be involved in a war with each other. And if black men don't see black females as attractive, what they will do is they will see the white female as attractive because as they imbibe this media and they see all these heterosexual men chasing the white woman, then they will believe that chasing the white woman is a social norm. And this is something that most people want to do with this media is they want to promote the idea that the white woman is the most attractive, the white female is the most desirable, the white female is the one you should be chasing after, and the white female is the one you should want to have relationships with above all else. This is why they go out of their way to not only promote the black lesbian character, but they also want to masculinize the black character so that she will be seen as unattractive and undesirable to heterosexual men. This is all part of social engineering, and they use comic books and comic book related media to present these ideas to people and reinforce these ideas to people to condition their minds to believe them as social norms. And this is also done on the male side, where we have the feminization of the black man, where we have black male characters featured in dresses, dressing in drag, and acting like homosexuals or promoting black male homosexuality as a social norm. And they want to promote these ideas, again, because they don't like to see images like those I present on the cover of The Temptation of John Haynes, which feature a heterosexual black man involved with a heterosexual black woman, because when it comes down to your SJWs and your white supremacists, they are uncomfortable about the idea of a heterosexual black man and a heterosexual black woman being involved in a relationship because it promotes black on black love. And when it comes down to SJWs, they just don't love the comic book industry, because them promoting black lesbians in the comic book industry is doing so much damage to the comic book industry, it's not funny. If we look at the sales numbers for many of these books like World of Wakanda, they just pale in comparison to those featuring heterosexual black male characters or even heterosexual white male characters. And if these people cared about the comic book industry, they would be making efforts to try to save this industry from its complete destruction by going out here to publish books that sell to the widest audience instead of trying to appeal to tiny demographics which preach identity politics at the expense of a struggling industry and all those who work in it. If you'd like to try my SJS Direct publications like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, and the Temptation of John Haynes, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. And if you want to help me pay for the covers for the SJS Direct 2018 catalog, you can donate $1 or more to my Patreon by clicking a link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.